Vuju Nindawe Majanaduk Shegnabi and Dishnakaz Derek, Indigo Michikans, Indudem Bekejwanang, Indunjaba and Ishnabe Adao. Hello, my name is Derek Sands. I'm from Walpole Island First Nation Bekejwanang territory. I am of Crane Clan. I am an Anishinaabe man. A graduate of the documentary media program, Toronto Metropolitan University. I graduated a year ago and was part of Doc Now, which is the film festival for our projects. My project was a film called All Sacred Things that was about the Ojibwe spirit horses. When I finished up the program, and I was part of the crew for the show called The Trades, I was brought on as behind the scenes, and then that evolved to the director observer under the president of the Canadian Directors Guild. And then through that connection, I ended up directing episode 6 of The Trades, which I never expected. The program, I feel, led me on this journey where I felt capable enough and confident enough to go and work within the industry. From where I was when I started to where I'm at now is night and day. And I'm grateful for that. And it's just been like the most fun and amazing journey that I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm like 51 now, so like to be having the best years of my life now is like, I'll take it. So